Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble home in Livingston, Montana. Okay, let me adjust my mic here. I always seem to get this thing too loud or too something. Okay, let me see here. That should be good enough. I hope. Okay, sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't have much wiggle room with that mic as far as the volume goes and my headphones goes, but I got a little wiggle room. It's a cheap mic. Okay, it's story time. If you don't like my stories, I don't blame you. No, if you're politely excused. This is actually, it's a series of stories from my childhood, if you will. Basically, what I'm going to be talking about is Rocky Mountain oysters. Do you folks have any idea what Rocky Mountain oysters are? I would imagine that some people that are looking in on this video probably do, but I am betting a dime to a dollar there's a whole bunch of you that have no idea what a Rocky Mountain oyster is. Okay, I've got a funny little story to go along with this, but I'm just going to kind of put it towards the end, and just tell you what a Rocky Mountain oyster is, because you won't believe me anyway, chances are. Basically speaking, okay, let me set the stage here. I grew up in a place called Ronan, Montana, for the most part, Ronan and Polson. And as a kid, for money, the only work that was available back in those days for us kids was ranch work. You name it, we did it. Putting up hay, irrigating, pick 'em up and set 'em down the irrigation pipes, irrigating with shovels, building fences, clearing land, you name it, we did it. Vaccinating animals, vaccinating cattle, and now we come to the business of Rocky Mountain oysters. Now, the reason why I'm laughing is because a lot of you people are going to go, oh, this guy's a pervert. No, this is a reality. This is something that actually went on. Probably still does to this day. I don't know. I've kind of gotten old and retired and everything and got off the ranches, and so there you are. But when you're in the ranching business, you don't want too many bulls. I don't care if they're, you don't want too many stud horses. You don't want, or whatever have you. You got studs and geldings, and with cattle you got bulls and steers. In other words, you don't want too many mature male animals like that, ranch animals. You just don't. You don't need that many to impregnate your cows, your mares, and like that. Just trust me on that. You don't need too many horny male animals running around. You're going to have some problems. So what the ranchers would do, and I think what I should do while I'm telling this story is spare you. But there's several ways that you in order to stop this business of a ranch animal becoming a full-fledged stud, so to speak, you know what I mean, a full-fledged playboy, you got to take their testicles off. You got to whack them testicles right off there. Actually, cutting them off is a way, but I'm not going to get into it because I can already feel this is gross, and all that. But there's several different ways that you can remove the testicles, but none of it's really all that pleasant. And believe you me, I got in a few of these testicle removing parties, and the old boys back in the days, they used to call, when they removed those testicles, they used to call them Rocky Mountain Oysters. Now, why in the hell they called them Rocky Mountain Oysters is beyond me. But believe this or not, ladies and gentlemen, this is not part of the joke or nothing like that, but they were actually by the old-timers up here in Montana and Wyoming and everywhere else, anywhere else that knew about this. Rocky Mountain Oysters, these animals' testicles, horses and cattle both, but mostly cattle, were considered a delicacy. These old boys would eat them. Okay, I was at many parties, if you will, not parties, but roundups, so to speak, where we were laying them male cows down and removing them testicles, and all them old boys, every doggone time, they'd have us boys running around with a pail, picking up them Rocky Mountain Oysters as soon as they whacked them up. And like I say, there was other ways. They used to use rubber bands and all kinds of stuff, and there was these special crimping tools and whatnot have you. But when the old rancher, would pinch the nut, so to speak, they just kind of pitch them over their shoulder into the dirt. Well, they had us boys run around picking them damn things up. And I told myself, I don't care. I don't care what Uncle Harry says or Uncle Bob or whoever's one of my friends. One of my friends in high school, his dad was real big with those Rocky Mountain Oysters. But I had told myself as a youngster, I said, I don't give a shit what these old boys do. I ain't eating one of these things. I ain't eating a cow nut. YouTube people that monitor or oversee these videos for quality control or whatever, don't get all ticked off here, because this is a reality, I hope I'm not breaking any TOS by telling this story, because, taking a nut and pinching it off and getting a Rocky Mountain oyster used to be a reality, and it used to be a delicacy. Okay. I was at many of these Rocky Mountain oyster parties, so to speak, and like I say, I made a promise to myself that I was never going to eat one of them things. It didn't sound like a good idea to me. Okay. My best friend, one of my best friends I went to school with, he lived over in Polson, Montana. And I'm not going to get into the family names. I'm just going to say his dad's name. His dad's name was Boren, believe it or not. And, old Boren, he used to like to, have a little nip or two once in a while. He was a pretty good old boy, And I am pretty sure back in the day, he was running some cattle, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or he had something to do with somebody's cattle or whatever have you. I know he had his own, he was in the cement business, but I remember one night he came home and he'd been out to the Vets Club or somewhere, and me and my best friend were sitting there, his son, and we were sitting there he had a real nice house, and sitting there at the kitchen bar, and old Warren says, "Hey Jim," he says, how about in the morning we have us some Rocky Mountain oysters?" And I go, "Oh no, Warren, I can't do that. That's against my religion." And so me and Warren got in this little, this back and forth. "Oh, come on, Jim, you can, man up. They taste really good." And I go, "Oh, no, Warren, I just can't, I don't like that idea," and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And I made it well known to Warren that I just didn't like the idea of eating a cow nut. Okay, yeah. I could just imagine if I was on the other end of this story, if I was somebody peeking in here listening to this stuff. Well, anyway, whatever here. So this one in particular, after Warren and I had this big conversation about Rocky Mountain oysters, a good week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks went by, and I figured old Warren had forgot all about it. Well, this one particular evening, old Greg and I, my friend and I, were sitting at the kitchen bar. How some of these houses have these bars. My house doesn't. My living room's and kitchen's not big enough for that kind of stuff. But anyway, we were sitting there, and old Warren comes in, and he'd been, like I say, he'd been down to the Vets Club, sucking down a little bit and everything. He goes, "Oh, boys," he says, "when I get up in the morning," he says, "I'll cook you a little breakfast." The thing of it is, this old boy had this planned and all this stuff, and he had a breakfast planned, all right, full of Rocky Mountain oysters was the whole deal here, only he just didn't say, because he never forgot about giving me a bunch of grief because I thought I didn't like Rocky Mountain oysters. You follow me, And so I just didn't think much about it, and I went on to bed with me and old Greg. I was staying overnight with my buddy. We went on to bed, and the next day we get up and everything, and old Warren, he's a spry old guy. He actually beat us up, and he's out there in the kitchen, whipping up the eggs and frying the oysters, because that's what he told me, because, I kind of brushed by old Warren. I said, "What are you cooking there, Warren?" He goes, "Oh," he says, I like them oysters in the morning, and I didn't, like a dumb idiot, I didn't even think Rocky Mountain oysters. And I kind of glanced in that skillet, and I thought, well, it didn't look too bad, and he was cooking some eggs and hash browns and all this other stuff. Anyways, he served me up this big plate of food, hash browns, eggs, and there was a few, and I noticed there was, there really was oysters, real oysters, but what he'd done is he threw in a few Rocky Mountain oysters while he was cooking, you follow me, and he made sure, damn sure, that one of them Rocky Mountain oysters got on my plate. Because, I'm eating along and everything, and I noticed that this one oyster was a little bit bigger than them other ones, Well, that was because he only gave me, he didn't want to ruin it. He wanted to make sure he fooled me, so he only gave me one Rocky Mountain oyster. So I started eating on that thing, and he waited till I got about halfway done. And by the way, they taste really good. I know somebody's thinking, man, this guy's nuts. But they do. Rocky Mountain oysters, cow testicles taste good. They are actually a delicacy. I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter if, I know it sounds gross and everything. But anyway, Warren says, "How you liking them oysters there, Jim? How's breakfast this morning?" I go, "Oh, man, I'm a kid. You know how you are when you're a glutton and, you can't talk because your cheeks are puffed up with food and all that. Sure, you know. And I go, "Oh, man, this is good, Warren, man." And he goes, "Well, I'm sure glad that, how about that oyster there? You liking that oyster right there?" He made sure that I was munching on what he wanted me to be munching on, which was the Rocky Mountain oyster. He goes, "Well, I'm sure glad you like that, because that oyster there is Rocky Mountain style." I remember him saying that, or something to that effect. "Grown in the Rocky Mountains." And I go, "Oh no, I'm fooled. I'm tricked. I'm screwed and all that." But I didn't really puke, or I think at first I wanted to regurgitate and all that, but I never really did, and by God, I just sat there and finished that oyster, or that Rocky Mountain oyster, because it did taste good, But I had to be tricked. Just like there's a lot of people right now watching this video. I know dang well they're going, oh, this is so gross, I can't believe it. That's what I used to think when I was a kid, too. I wasn't going to eat a cow nut, or any of that. But they are a delicacy, and they are good. But I had to get tricked by my best friend's dad in order to get one down my gullet. And that's my story. And how long I got? Oh, man. 15 minutes, I got to get out of here. And that's all there is to it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for visiting me in my home here in Livingston, Montana. Take care of yourselves. We shall see you on down the trail. And adios, my friends. And where's my button to get going? Bye.